Hey, this is Brett the Hitman Hart, and you're listening to the Smacked Raw podcast.
How's it going, guys? This is Vince from the Smack Raw podcast, and as you can see, I'm shooting from home, given the whole circumstances going on in the world today, but that's not going to stop us from giving you guys our pay-per-view predictions. Today, we're going to be talking about WrestleMania 36, the only WrestleMania too big for one night. We're going to have a total of 16 matches that are confirmed. I know a lot of this stuff was already pre-taped, and we don't know the outcome of certain of these matches because some of these might change up. But nonetheless, we're going to be talking about it. As you can see on the bottom right here is our link tree. So you can find our YouTube, our Twitter, all our social medias, wherever you want to consume your podcast, whether that's Apple Music, Spotify, whatever. You can find all our content right there in our link tree down below. And with that being said, why don't we get started with the very first match recently announced this past SmackDown. We have Otis taking on Dolph Ziggler, and this is a feud that's been culminating for a couple of weeks now. And it was the basic story of Dolph Ziggler comes in and steals her girl. Otis is the lovable babyface that everybody wants to support and wants to see win. And honestly, that's where this probably is gonna go. Like it's gonna be WrestleMania. There's reports that WWE might take a break after this, so you wanna leave WrestleMania being a happy, like a good feeling type of show. And you have to start that off with having Otis win here. Maybe Mandy realizes that Dolph is being a dick, he's being a jerk or whatever. He's not who she thinks he really is. And she comes out and actually helps Otis, or maybe unintentionally helps Otis and helps build this storyline once this break, if it does happen, continues. So that's my pick. I got Otis for this match. Next up, we have Elias taking on King Corbin, and honestly, I was not feeling this match whatsoever. I don't think they might do anything too special in the ring, but given the cinematic approach that WWE might be taking with WrestleMania this year, it could be pretty good. I mean, you saw this past SmackDown, King Corbin and Elias, they basically reenacted the Scar Mufasa scene from Lion King, and I thought it was great. It helps, the for the lack of what these guys can do inside the ring. If you add a little bit more like cinematic approach to their match, you might make it really good. I mean, we saw a video package of Eva Marie training or doing in-ring stuff, and she looked like one of the best wrestlers out there. And we all know Eva Marie couldn't do anything any close like that to her WWE stint. So you never know, maybe. You never know. This might be a little bit better than expected, but nonetheless, I got King Corbin here. You have to keep building him strong. He took a loss to Roman Reigns, and you got to keep building him up. For whatever reason, Vince McMahon is just a big fan of Baron Corbin, so who am I to judge? So moving on. Aleister Black taking on Bobby Lashley. This is the one match that has zero build whatsoever. I think it's the only match with zero build whatsoever. I don't know if it's going to happen. I heard some reports or rumors on Twitter and online media sources saying that maybe Bobby Lashley was stuck in Africa or something. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm going to go on the basis that this match is going to happen, and if it does, Aleister Black. It's his, I want to say, second WrestleMania. I think he was involved in a Fatal 4-Way Raw Tag Team title match with him and Ricochet, and Paul Heyman's pretty high on the guy. A lot of people are pretty high on the guy. Unfortunately, he didn't advance in our March Madness tournament. Go ahead and check that out once it's on YouTube. And I don't know. I think he deserves the win here, man. You got to build him up. And again, feel good stories. There's no storyline, no feud built here. So if it's just going to be a one-off match, Aleister Black. Next up, we have a match that was affected with the pandemic going on, the Raw Tag Team Championship match, and it was just randomly thrown together 2 weeks ago. It was supposed to be the Street Profits, the Raw Tag Team Champions, defending against Selena Vega's new associates and Angel Garza and Andrade. The U.S. title wasn't going to be defended. I think it was supposed to be with a match with Rey Mysterio, and he was quarantined and wasn't able to make the show. So they changed this up. Unfortunately, Andrade got injured last week on Raw, and he had to be replaced with Austin Theory. He showed up with Angel Garza. They teamed together this past Raw. on the Go Home show, and they look good. Unfortunately, because it's Austin Theory, I don't think he's going to be moving up to Raw anytime soon. I think he might just stay in NXT. He just lost to Tyler Breeze. I don't think he's championship material. You have to keep the continuity of a tag team division intact, meaning that if you're a tag team, you're an established tag team, no matter who's on the other side, you should be able to beat them. Similar to any sports league, you can't just plug 3 great players and expect them to like help a team win. It takes a team effort, continuity, and just knowing each other. And the Street Profits know each other more than Angel Garza and Austin Theory. So with that being said, I got Street Profits retain their tag titles. And then moving on to the SmackDown tag titles, this was supposed to be a triple threat ladder match, and it was gonna be so amazing because you have the Usos, who just go out there and put on a great show. You have New Day, Kofi, and Big E. They can do a lot of great stuff. Those 2 teams alone in a ladder match can put on a phenomenal match and a great story. But then you add Miz and Morrison. Morrison is just an athletic freak. He's gonna, in a ladder match situation, that's his environment. But if I'm not mistaken, this match isn't taking place because Miz didn't actually go to the Performance Center to record his WrestleMania match. And I think it was changed up. If I'm not mistaken, the change up was a triple threat singles match. One of the Usos, one of the New Day members, and John Morrison in a triple threat ladder match. And the winner got the tag titles for their team. So I don't know, maybe they took the titles off of Miz and Morrison, as a way of punishment. WWE does some weird stuff where they punish their talent for little things like that. And actually, you know what? He did make it. Now that I'm starting to remember now, Miz actually did make it, but was feeling sick, was feeling under the weather, and they sent him home. So maybe because of that, they take the titles off of him. I'm gonna go ahead and just pick the safe bet here, and just gonna go ahead and say Miz and Morrison. Yeah, I'm just going to say Miz and Morrison retained. New Day, they just lost the titles. I don't know if they're going to put the tag titles on the Usos. Miz and Morrison, why not? Next up, keeping it with the tag team titles theme, we have the Kabuki Warriors taking on Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Little anticlimactic. This was supposed to be like a triple threat or fatal 4-way match involving Beth Phoenix and Natalya, and maybe throwing the Iconics or Fire and Desire in there. I don't know exactly what they were having planned. But this match is taking place nonetheless. Kabuki Warriors were the team that took the titles off of Bliss and Nikki Cross. I don't see them dropping the titles here. I'm going to go ahead and say the champions retain again. Next up, we have arguably a dream match here. And Daniel Bryan versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. And who would have guessed that just even 2 weeks ago that we were going to have this match at WrestleMania. I know it's not the environment and the setting we would normally but gotta make the best of what you have, and I know these guys are gonna make the best of the situation they have in front of them. They're gonna put on a great match. Obviously Daniel Bryan's gonna pick up the title here, man. You need someone to really carry that secondary title, especially now that you have Goldberg as your Universal Champion. He's going to be there. You got to make this the workhorse title. You have to make that title that shows up on SmackDown every single night, and that's the top champion. And unfortunately, Sami Zayn, with his injury history, he's not the guy to hold that title long term. I'm going to go ahead and say that Daniel Bryan picks up the title here and fulfills on his promise that he wanted to do when he won the championship at WrestleMania 31 and be the US Open Challenge version of John Cena, but for the IC title, because that was his original idea, and then John Cena carried it over with the US title, but injuries and stuff, he wasn't able to do it. So maybe this is the perfect time. Daniel Bryan's a big name, he's a big star, and he should be the IC champion. So Daniel Bryan wins here. Next up, we go over back to Raw. We have Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins in a grudge match, and these guys are finally going to have a singles match. Finally, they've done a great job of not just throwing the singles match at whatever pay-per-view. They've given us a combination of handicap matches, tag team matches, scenarios along those lines where Kevin Owens has to go through Seth Rollins' followers, his disciples, if you will, and Buddy Murphy and AOP. And it's culminated in this, and it'd be very, very bad booking if Kevin Owens just loses here. You just kind of make his entire journey to try to beat Seth Rollins completely pointless. So with that being said, I have Kevin Owens here. And I wouldn't be surprised if they pull a swerve here and have Seth Rollins win. But again, WrestleMania, given the entire circumstances of things, I think they want us to have those feel good moments. So Kevin Owens picks up the victory here, and maybe he catapults himself to the WWE title scene after this. Who knows? Next up, sticking with Raw, we have the Boneyard match between Undertaker and AJ Styles. We still don't know what the Boneyard match is. It could be a Buried Alive match. It could be just a street fight in a graveyard in the cemetery. Either way, it should be pretty good. Between this match and the Cena Fiend match, I think those are going to be the ones that really capitalize on the cinematic approach and not having the crowd there, and might actually benefit from not having the fans there. AJ Styles sells and bumps like there's no tomorrow, and if anybody can make Undertaker feel like it's 2009, it's AJ Styles. I think this match is going to be really good. Undertaker did invite him to bring the club in and interfere. He mentioned something about the Holy Trinity, like the unholy Trinity. So who knows what that is? Maybe Kane gets involved. Maybe Aleister Black shows up. Maybe he has something on his sleeves. Maybe like the Alkalites or like the Brood. I don't know what the Undertaker's got cooking up, but they have the makings of a very, very interesting match here. But with that being said, I have the Undertaker. It's WrestleMania still, even though it's going to be in the graveyard cemetery setting, and he's only lost to Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Unfortunately, AJ Styles is not in that category of wrestlers. Undertaker should be putting over the young guy, but I don't think this is his last match. So unfortunately for AJ Styles, he's not going to pick up the win here. Plus, he's been calling out the man's wife and his family, so it only makes sense for Undertaker to prevail here, especially if there's not going to be anything moving forward. Next up, we have the SmackDown Women's Titles Fatal 5-Way Elimination Match. Bayley defending her title against Lacey Evans, Naomi, Tamina, and Sasha Banks. Dana Brooke was originally in this match, but she was quarantined along with Rey Mysterio, so she wasn't able to make the tapings for this match. Nonetheless, Fatal 5-Way, they made Tamina look strong, but she's probably going to be the one person that everybody gangs up and tries to eliminate towards the end. It might come down to Sasha and Bayley towards the end of the match, and Bayley retains here, or it could be a scenario where Bayley and Sasha work together up until they get to like Naomi or somebody, and then that's when Sasha gets eliminated. They're gonna build the tension. They're gonna continue building on the feud that they're gonna eventually have. This was supposed to be Sasha versus Bayley for the SmackDown Women's title at WrestleMania, but given that there's not gonna be any fans and there's only like a 3-4 week build, they want to postpone that. And kudos to them. We give WWE a lot of flack, but when they do stuff right and they realize that this match should be given the time necessary to like really deliver. I don't know if it'll ever be Brooklyn Sasha versus Bayley at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, but it can be damn near close. And if you put it like in a B-level pay-per-view or like a SummerSlam or something, it could get like a good 20 or so minutes, a little bit over the 20-minute mark, and let them go. I think Bayley does retain here, and we build towards that Sasha Banks Bayley match going forward. Rhea Ripley, Charlotte for the NXT Women's Championship. Now, this is unorthodox how we got here. Charlotte did win the Rumble and picked the NXT Women's title to go after. And it makes sense in a certain aspect. She wants to reclaim that title, and it's helped NXT and Raw. Like you showcase Rhea Ripley on Monday Night Raw. You bring some star power over to NXT with Charlotte Flair. You're giving Charlotte something to do, so she's not out there just like floundering and not doing anything at WrestleMania. I like it. I think Rhea Ripley is going to pick up the victory here. I don't think Charlotte's going to be moving down to NXT anytime soon, especially with Andrade over on Raw. It just doesn't make sense. If it wasn't for those circumstances, I would say that Charlotte wins here, but Rhea Ripley picks up the victory here, proves that she belongs and is on the Charlotte Flair level. So Rhea Ripley retains. Next up, we have the final women's match of the night. We have the Raw Women's title between the champion, Becky Lynch, and the challenger, Shayna Baszler. Shayna got it, winning the Elimination Chamber. She arguably should have just won the Rumble and just had this build, to be honest, because like they had like a week or two, like two weeks segment where we weren't sure if Shayna was actually going to challenge for the title or not. We knew it was going to go that direction. It was so predictable. But regardless, Shayna looks dominant, and I think she's the one to take the title off of Becky Lynch. She won the title at last year's WrestleMania, and if rumors start to be believed, she's going to be taking a break. And this also goes to my Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens pick. If Seth and Becky go ahead and take a break, it makes sense for them to lose their matches respectively at WrestleMania and go and take their break because they deserve it. Becky's been the workhorse. She's been on Raw almost every other week except for that one stint of time where they had nothing for her and she wasn't showing up. it's not her fault. She hasn't had contenders lined up for her, and creative hasn't had much things for her in terms of feuds. Shayna Baszler's the ultimate perfect foil for her, and she'd be the perfect person to hold on to that women's division title and just go on and have other matches with like the likes of a Natalya, Liv Morgan, a Ruby Riott, the works, especially after this reported superstar shakeup drafting after WrestleMania. Wouldn't be surprised if Shayna hold to the title, and then maybe she does something with Charlotte Flair afterwards. You never know. So yeah, Shayna Baszler retains here. Next up, we have Goldberg in the Universal title match, which was supposed to be against Roman Reigns. Obviously, we all know that Roman Reigns pulled out. He had health concerns. He didn't want to risk his health going and performing in these PC SmackDown shows. So he decided, you know what? I'm out of here. And respect to Roman Reigns, he realizes that his health and his family's health and the well-being of him and his family is way more important than the match with Goldberg. Honestly, dude, you're Roman Reigns. Once you're Roman Reigns, you're at that level. You're not gonna really get pushed down the card. I mean, you can say I don't want to show up, and what they're gonna do, they're gonna put you in the main event. They're gonna put you in the top booking situations for SmackDown or Raw, whichever show you're on. So kudos to Roman. We don't know as of right now. They haven't announced anything officially. Triple H said that the reveal is going to be pretty cool. It's going to be original, and they're going to probably show that on SmackDown tonight, which is when I'm recording before SmackDown. Nonetheless, if it's not going to be Roman Reigns, and if it's not going to be The Fiend that somehow gets the title match after beating John Cena the night beforehand, if they don't do the Fiend has the Cena match on Saturday and then has the Universal match against Goldberg on Sunday, I don't see Goldberg losing that title. The reports are it might be Braun Strowman. If it's Braun Strowman, I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of Braun Strowman. I don't think he's ever came through in the clutch. Whenever it's a big match situation, he always loses. Just keep the title on Goldberg. Have Daniel Bryan be your IC champion and your top champion, and be the workhorse champion that shows up every week. So I have Goldberg retaining here if it's not Roman Reigns or The Fiend. Next up, the other title match, we have Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre won the Royal Rumble and arguably has been looking like a total beast. Brock Lesnar has gone out of his way to make Drew McIntyre look good and formidable and credible. And what a 360 Drew McIntyre, from being the chosen one to fall into 3MB to being released to coming back to NXT, doing it the right way. I cannot be more proud and excited for this guy. I just kind of wish he was in a bigger WrestleMania setting, but nonetheless, it's his time to shine. It's his time to get the WWE title. I couldn't be more proud of Drew McIntyre. I got Drew McIntyre here. I could sit here and ramble all I want, but Drew McIntyre is the rightful choice here. Next up, like I mentioned, we have John Cena taking on The Fiend, and in a Firefly Funhouse match. John Cena has to accept it, but he's gonna accept it. It's already been recorded. We already know what's happening here. John Cena, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. It's a perfect way to culminate this feud. They talked about their stuff in WrestleMania 30, how that was the downward spiral that led Bray Wyatt to discovering and creating The Fiend. And John Cena, man, John Cena's just the GOAT, man. He's out here just knocking out of the park with promos left and right. This is going to be great. If it's a combination between the Ultimate Deletion that Bray had with Woken Matt Hardy and the House of Horrors match they had with Randy Orton, get all the good stuff from all that stuff, and that's what you have with John Cena. I think that'd be amazing. I know a lot of people hated House of Horrors, but I loved it. I thought it was cheesy and hokey, but I love cheesy and hokey, so don't judge me here. So I have The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, picking up the victory here. John Cena's probably going to put over Bray. I'm pretty sure he wants to put over Bray. Regardless of what he said on TV, I know he's a big Bray Wyatt guy. So yeah, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt avenge his loss to John Cena at WrestleMania 30. And finally, we have what could be one of the two shows as a main event, the last man standing match between Edge and Randy Orton. The former friends just fizzled out, and they're going to go to blows in the last man standing match. Edge's return singles match, and Randy Orton just has been on another level with his heel work. Edge has proven with his return why he is one of the best to ever do it. He's had amazing promos, amazing segments. I can't wait for this match. I want them to be safe first and foremost, but on the other side of things, I also wanted to beat the crap out of each other, and obviously Edge has to win here. You can't have the entire Randy Orton turmoil happen and him not come out on top. It's going to be the ultimate feel-good moment for WrestleMania, and that should be the theme for this year's WrestleMania, given everything that's happening. Sprinkle in some like heel wins, like what was I saying earlier, like King Corbin, you know, just throw in a King Corbin's or a Kabuki Warriors or a Bailey in there. But for the most part, gotta have a feel-good moment. With a lot of these matches have to have the good outcome and just make fans happy at the end of the day. And yeah, so Randy Orton is losing here to Edge. Edge is the winner, and that's the entire 16 matches. If anything gets updated, changed, fortunately, video would be out of date, but regardless, you can always find me on Twitter at SESVince. You can follow the show at SmackRawPod. If you ever want to talk wrestling, we have our Discord channel. We can talk Pokemon, we can talk wrestling, whatever you want, man. It's a very, very fun chat. And thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Hit the notification button so you know when we drop a brand new video. And subscribe. Yes, we did reach 100 subscribers, but we want a little bit more. We're a little greedy in that sense. And comment down below who you think is going to win this Sunday at WrestleMania. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks again. Later, y'all.